Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Karen obviously was off her meds that day. Good on you, OP, for pressing charges. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Entitled woman threatens me over a parking spot. So, I want to preface this by saying I work in a retail outlet. For those who don't know what that is, it's basically an outside mall. Anyways, parking where I work is always hell. It's neck and neck for a good parking spot, and on busy days like today, I usually avoid the parking disputes and park in the parking garage, which is pretty far from my job. On my lunch break, when it slowed down, I decided to move my car and park it in front of the store I work at. No biggie, I get a parking spot and start to enjoy my break and call my SO. After hanging up with my SO, the parking space in front of me opens up as an SUV leaves, so I pull into the spot. When I pull in, I guess there was a car sitting and waiting to take the spot. I hadn't originally seen it due to the fact that the SUV blocked it. When I pull forward, the lady in the car goes insane, screaming that I need to move my car, that what I was doing was illegal, and so on. So, being a little petty, I stand my ground and refuse to move. Now, if this lady had been nice and asked me to move, I would have had no problem doing so, but instead, she decided to go insane and scream at me, so I stood my ground. Not to mention, there were about 5 open parking spots around me that she could have easily taken, including the one I had just pulled out of. I tried to ignore her, hoping she'd simply give up and leave, but boy, was I wrong. She approaches my car, screaming at me through my window, demanding I move and insisting what I was doing was illegal. Again, I was ignoring her, hoping she'd give up, leave, and take another of the 5 or so parking spots around me. At one point, I roll down the window, ask her to leave me alone or I will contact the police. She told me, F you, and we'll call the police. She didn't give a flying fudge since what I did was illegal. Then, as I'm waiting for her to stop, she starts banging on my car window once again, screaming at me and threatening to put her hands on me. As I continue to ignore her, she goes around to the passenger side of my car and opens my door, sticking her head in, screaming at and threatening me. At that point, I pulled out my phone and contacted the police out of fear of what this crazy woman would do to me. When she sees I'm actually calling the police, she gets in her car and leaves, but not quick enough for me to get her license plate. Mind you, this lady was with her friend or whatever and her child in the back seat. Great precedent to set for your child, lady. The police finally show up and I give them the rundown. As I'm talking to the police, the lady shows up again and another officer goes to talk to her. I told the police I wanted to press charges. He tells me that even though I could, it likely won't get pushed through considering the police weren't there to witness it. I didn't record it and had no witnesses. Which I was upset about, but as I continued talking to the officer, this wonderful lady approaches us and lets the officer know that she witnessed the lady try and enter my car. The officer then says I have more of a ground to press charges, so I decide to do so. I don't speak to the lady again, but she really dug her own grave by coming back because even with a license plate number, they can't prove it was the woman. But luckily, she came and I have a witness, so after work, I'll be heading to the police station to fill out the paperwork. Edit. Just because I'm an employee does not mean I can't park in front of my job a couple hours before we close. I work late hours, and I'm not risking walking back to my car parked far away at 11 p.m. or 12 a.m. The parking lot was clearing out, and as I stated in my post, there were about 5 other parking spaces open for her to take. And to add, there is employee parking, but it's not regulated, so it gets filled by customers, not employees. And our second story. I just wanted a drill, not a police report. Alright, so a little backstory. This happened about 4 months ago. I just finished an 11-hour shift and needed to stop at Home Depot to get a new drill. I just wanted to run in, buy it, run out, and get home. Of course, it wasn't that easy. I just got into the drills and was looking over the options in my price range when I hear it. Excuse me, where are the wax toilet rings? There are a few other people in the area, so I ignored, assuming there's an employee nearby. It's important to add, as I work in traffic control and just got off the job site, I'm wearing high-visibility pants, a high-visibility vest shirt that says company name Traffic Control on the back, a radio with a shoulder mic, and have a traffic control technician certification card displayed on my vest. The employees here wear orange aprons and normal clothes. Hello? Do you want to do your job or just stand there looking at tools? At this point, I glanced around to see what was going on. I assumed some customer was berating an employee, which happens a lot at this location, unfortunately. I was surprised, however, to see some 30-year-old guy in a white button-down shirt and tie looking at me like I'm stupid. Can I help you? I said, still not sure of the situation, but that seemed to tick him off. Yes, you can tell me where the GD wax rings are, he shouted. At this point, it clicked in my head what was going on. I'm sorry, sir, I started saying. I don't want to hear anything but an aisle number, he yelled, interrupting me and drawing the attention of a few other shoppers. Honestly, how did you get this job being so stupid? I tried again. I don't work. He cuts me off again. Oh my God, why is this so hard? Where are the wax rings? Now, I don't know why, but I got an idea in my head that I thought would be amusing, and at the very least might get him away from me. I pointed behind him at a random aisle where wax rings almost certainly weren't in and said, "It's right there." Finally, how stupid can you effing be? He yelled, huffing and storming off. I thought that was the end of it. I figured he'd realize they're not in that aisle, then find an actual employee to ask. Nope. He came right back and started yelling that I don't even know how to do my job, and that his best friend is the district manager and he'll have my job. During his yelling, I noticed a few shoppers staring at us. I just raised my hand, pointed to the same aisle as before, and said, "They're right there. Look, can't you see them? How stupid can you effing be?" I retorted, taking glee and throwing the last part back at him. But he wasn't amused. He smacked my hand down and shoved me, yelled something about stupid punk teenagers. That was a bad idea. I'm not a skilled fighter or super strong or anything, but I know when I can take someone. This guy clearly didn't. I punched him once square in the nose, presumably breaking it, and he fell back, hitting his head on the concrete ground. Hard. "Someone call the police! This guy just attacked me!" he yelled as the crowd nearby grew larger and larger. I was worried. Obviously, it was in self-defense, but I kept thinking that I should have shoved him back and not punched him. I was worried that if he hit his head to the point it caused a lot of damage, I could get in trouble. A manager came over and asked what was going on. He started screaming that this employee attacked me when I tried to ask for simple directions. Look what he did. By this point, the blood is visible on the spot he hit his head, along with the blood pouring out of both nostrils. Who did? The manager said, puzzled and concerned, looking around at the actual employees who were still on their way over to the commotion. "Oh my God, are you all this stupid? Him!" he screamed, pointing at me. He doesn't work here, sir," the manager said. The manager got on the radio for more employees, ignoring the man's insistence that I do, and tells me to follow him. He takes me to the security office and has me wait for the police. Luckily, multiple customers and the camera saw my side of the story, and since the police went to the injured person first to render aid, they also interviewed witnesses over there before coming to me. When they came in, I gave my side of the story. The police say it contradicts his versions of events, but it matches the witnesses' statements. They said the guy was yelling that he wanted me arrested and locked up, and that's when the manager pulled up the footage, which showed him hit my hand and shove me, and I only hit him after that, and one time. Also in my favor, I was facing him with the drill shelf behind me when he shoved me, so I was somewhat cornered. They then asked if I wanted to press charges, and since he wanted to get me arrested, I decided, hell yeah, lock his butt up. They arrested him, and a few months later, I found out he pled guilty and avoided jail time, but now he has an assault charge on his record. I honestly wouldn't have pressed charges if it wasn't for the fact that he wanted to press charges against me. I hope he learned his lesson and doesn't treat anyone that way again, even if they're a Home Depot employee. And our last story. Neighbors claimed 1,200 square feet of my property. I purchased a house about 2 months ago, had the county survey and marked the property. I don't know why I was curious, but was digging through my paperwork. My property is 54 by 140, 7,560 square feet. I decided to measure it, and I have 46 by 140 square feet. So I was looking at the survey map I got, and it says 54 feet between my neighbor's fence and my other neighbor's garage. Well, it's not. It's 46 feet. Then I noticed that the county surveyor has the same last name as one of my neighbors. So today, the state surveyor came and marked the property lines, and my neighbors that share the same last name have 8 by 120 feet of my property that part of their garage, house addition, and fence is on. I spoke to the surveyor. He said it's too late to contest the property lines because it needed done within 30 days of purchase. I explained to him the situation with the county guy. He asked for proof, and I showed him. He said he'll file a complaint with the survey board and with the state attorney. He also said I needed a lawyer as of now. I've reached out to several real estate lawyers and waiting for consultations. I guess that I probably have to wait for the lawyer? Edit. The state is Kansas. They've never had any permits issued to their parcel number, city lot number, or address. Their house drawing, the county assessor's office, has no garage, fence, or home addition. The surveyor is also the city code enforcement officer. He's supposed to drive around and enforce the code. Now, how he never saw his niece adding to her property and cited her or made her pull permits is kind of interesting. I got certified copies of everything yesterday before work. Just in case something miraculously shows up, I have certified copies showing they were not there on the 29th of yesterday. Going to take everything with me when I meet my lawyer after I wake up. Hopefully, I can get my property back. Update, 6/30/22. Talked to a few lawyers. They all want a retainer except one. He said he'll take the case and charge me 35% of what I'm awarded, as he's 100% sure he can win my case in either a settlement for the land or through making them pay my attorney fees and have my property returned to me. He went through historical satellite images and found it was built 7 years ago, about the previous time the old owner stopped renting out the property. He said that he would have a preliminary court date scheduled by Monday and would let me know when the hearing would be scheduled for. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.